Hello and welcome to Commodity Champions. I'm Manisha Gupta. Well, the temperatures are on the rise and several parts of India are dealing with heat wave conditions. However, these harsh conditions bode well with beverage and dairy companies as they bring in a spike in sales of beverages, curd, buttermilk and ice creams. The previous summer season was rather tepid because of unexpected rains disrupted demand. However, this time around, beverage and dairy firms are expecting higher demand and double-digit growth in sales. Joining me now to discuss this and more is Amul's Managing Director, Jayen Mehta. Mr. Mehta, hi, thank you so much for joining us. And India has been witnessing a heat wave across states, and there have also been unprecedented rains in some part of the country. How are you looking at this extreme weather as a company, and what has the rising temperatures meant for ice cream sales?
It's been a pretty good summer season and, of course, a bumper season for all the products related to summer, be it ice creams or even our beverages, the buttermilk, lassi, curd, and so on. So it's been good growth as what we had anticipated when we spoke in the beginning of the year. And the last 2-3 months have been very good, and we are looking at a very, very good growth through the entire season this year.
So any growth numbers you would want to share on what is the number that you're looking in across India, pan-India?
Growth has been very good in the range of about actually more than 30%. There are a few markets who will be doing exceedingly well, starting with Uttar Pradesh, which is growing at the rate about 45-50%. East India has been doing very good for us. I'm talking about the ice cream numbers, more than 40%. Even South India is 35% plus, same as Maharashtra. So all major markets doing quite well, and that's why we've been growing as per what the expectations were and the plans that we had made in the beginning of the year.
Mr. Mehta, also the onset of summer also comes with its own set of challenges, such as rise in input cost, electricity or availability of food for cattle. Have you seen these input costs increase?
So far, so good. I think we have not had major issues related to any of the points you mentioned. The last year monsoon was pretty okay as far as Gujarat is concerned. And in Gujarat also, now we are growing at double digit as far as the procurement is concerned. And the total procurement of Amul continues to be in double digits, about 18% more than last year. So on the whole, milk procurement scenario is also very good. The commodity positions is also very good. And obviously, when we have to cater to this huge demand, there is enough and more of stocks available with us and also in the entire country. So it augurs well for both the farmers and the consumers.
I want to quickly jump also to cocoa because the prices have been quite volatile. We've seen an all-time high of 12,000. It's trading at 8,000 right now. As a company, how are you dealing with this price rise? And what kind of contracts are you doing when it comes to cocoa?
Yes, you are right. See, it has to soften because at that price, the demand, of course, will not be there. And once the market gets into the hands of the speculators, you know how the reality is as in terms of production versus how the market looks at it. So I'm happy that they are softening a bit. As far as we are concerned, our cocoa largely sourced from a cooperative in South India called Camco. So it has translated into an increase in cost for us for sure, but actually it's going in the hands of the farmers for sure. But we do hope that the prices come to a realistic level. I mean, you can't have a 4 or 5 times increase in the prices of the cocoa bean products like the cocoa butter and cocoa powder and so on. So we are at the moment taking a little bit of it. As far as ice cream is concerned, we were constrained to pass it on in form of increase in consumer price as far as the chocolate bars are concerned. But I'm sure in a matter of couple of months, and as I mentioned earlier, the Diwali season should be pretty normal, is what we are guessing.
All right. And that's another important season to come in. You also have forayed into international markets as a manufacturer, apart from being a distributor and an exporter. With US now, is a market that you are in right now. Have the initial numbers started to come in, and are there plans for any more countries?
Yes, the launch of Amul milk is happening across the entire US. And I hope the product response has been very good so far. So we do hope that the efforts of bringing in fresh milk products, be it starting with Amul Gold, Shakti Taza, different types of milk that we have in India, in the US, along with that, the dahi, the buttermilk, paneer, and the range of fresh products, lassi, etc., will be made available soon to the Indian diaspora there. And we are also sponsoring the US cricket team. So it adds up to the excitement in the US market as far as the brand Amul is concerned.
I'm sure. It also is usually said that when it's election year, you see stronger food consumption, and this time it's come in the peak summer demand season. Has that coincided with the demand too?
Yes, of course, because election is a national phenomenon, both urban, rural, and all. So, as I mentioned earlier, our rural penetration has increased dramatically. So, we are getting benefit of the increased demand and the consumption in the rural markets as much as the urban markets. Obviously, the summer products like the buttermilk, the lassi, dahi, etc., are getting a very, very good traction, as well like with other products also, be it milk powders in smaller packs or ice creams and the rest of the stuff. So yes, we are really benefiting out of the overall growth in the demand in the market, partly due to elections, but overall due to the increased consumption for a normal summer year this year.
Mr. Mehta, also, how is the competition heating up as well in this heat wave with the elections going on as well? I mean, there are more and more participants coming in for this market. How has that added for the season? Are you adding any more products, newer variants for this time?
The market share data, as per the independent market research reports, we continue to track month on month, and there's been a healthy growth in all the product categories that we have. But having said that, competition is intrinsic to our business, and we welcome competition because that helps in expanding the market and the category. We've been driving the investments as far as the Amul expansion forays are concerned, adding more plants like ice cream. I mentioned we had 19 plants last year. Today, 25 dairy plants manufacture ice cream. And same in case of cheese, we've added new facilities, expanding capacity by as high as 55%. Most of the product categories undergoing rapid expansion because we know that if, as and how the Indian market expands, Amul has to be leading from the front, both in terms of procurement, in terms of processing, and in terms of marketing. So investments happening at the right products, at the right places across the country. And obviously, we are in the process of getting the highest growth in the sales as well as market share.
Okay, and with the first quarter now done and the second one is on, what is the roadmap ahead in sense of new production launches, also in sense of turnover numbers that you've been talking about for some time now?
So by and large, the pillars on which we have planned to grow are being strengthened, and they're growing in the right direction. The foray into fresh products and the expansion in the fresh product markets is happening in a very big way with our launch in Odisha markets and expansion into several other markets. So that's one strong business that we have, fresh products, that's been growing very well. The expansion in the core products, be it butter, be it cheese, be it milk powders, be it ice cream, also happening in a very big way. The newer categories which will drive the future growth, protein, the expansion in the portfolio is happening in a very big way, and our D2C foray has been very, very successful, and that's how we've been able to grow the market and actually know every single customer of our entire protein range of products. Organics is another pillar which has been growing very well. We've been expanding our range of products into in this space, adding more plants, adding more products, launching even masalas. We just recently launched ginger powder, which is also along with that we'll be launching many other spices also in the organic space. So which means customers will get food without chemical fertilizers and pesticides, and we'll grow that market also. Probiotics is another category which is doing very well. We converted all our buttermilk, which we sell at 30 rupees a liter and has volumes are about 30 lakh liters a day, into probiotics without charging a single rupee to the customer. And that business has been growing by as high as 40% this year. So the foundation is in place, and the plans of growing each of these categories into making Amul organization which is resilient to the future and cashing on to the opportunities which come are all being done in a very active manner. And also the international forays, our joint venture in Sri Lanka is progressing very well. We are looking at expanding in Africa, at Kenya, on the similar lines in which we work on the dairy development through the Amul model. And the brand expansion in the international markets also happening as per what the plans which we have made. So it's export of the products, export of the brand, and the model, both happening simultaneously, which gives a very unique dimension to how the cooperative model of India can benefit to the world.
Well, clearly that, but you also mentioned protein, organic and probiotic, and the health fad in India really seems to be picking up quite strongly. Apart from the products that you're putting in, what is new that can be anticipated? Because various other companies are now doing this. So how is Amul clearly leveraging on this one?
We are part of this conversation, guiding the consumers on what's good. It's because milk is a superfood, and the composition of milk helps us play all these aspects which you rightly mentioned here. And consumers, if they start looking at the labels, the clean label products are only dairy products. And that's where Amul comes in, our range of products come in, and the goodness of fat that we have, the protein that we have, the lactose that we have, all the calcium that we have, the minerals that we have in milk become very, very important. And that adds to overall nutrition for the country, immunity for all our citizens, and of course, the protein, which is a growth booster, right from kids to the senior citizens. So that's where we've also been driving the conversations and the change in the habit and attitudes of the customers, and being a part of their daily food items, every part of the meal.
Fair point. That, Mr. Mehta, thank you so much for joining us. So clearly very strong numbers coming in as far as ice creams are concerned, but various other products and international forays is something that we clearly will keep an eye on as far as Amul goes. Thank you for your time. Well, with that, we're heading into a short break, but coming up, we discuss the shoot up in ice cream sales and other summer products with the Managing Director of Mother Dairy, Manish Bandlish. Remember, it's also their 50th year, and we will discuss all of that with Manish on the other side.